Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very accomplished sports management professional from Goa and Mumbai, Mr. Neel Shah. Neel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Neel is a sports management professional, an educator, and a life coach. And he just told me he's released his first book. He has over 19 years of experience in the development and commercialization of sport in North America and Asia. So, Neel, before we talk sports and about your book, tell me about your own journey in brief.
I actually grew up in Southern California. And I grew up on a sports pitch, on a playing field, playing football or soccer back there, basketball, baseball, volleyball, you name it. It was kind of like my outlet. Went through education like a regular Gujarati boy, very focused on my academics and what my future was going to be. Ultimately, recognized that sports is not just my life on the pitch, but it was becoming my life off the pitch. And it'd given me so much that I wanted to give back. And so I decided to pursue a career in sports management, something that was quite new in those days, back in the mid 1995, 96, to tell your parents, especially Gujarati parents who left India to come to America to give you a particular life. It was a big deal. Worked in the US for a while, and then in 2009 decided to move to India, and I've held a number of sports positions here. So it's been an exciting journey.
Amazing. So, Neel, how do the roles of sports management, educator, author, and a life coach intersect in your life and your career?
Yeah. So, as I was sharing, I was in New York. I was working in Major League Soccer, a professional sports league, and I was in marketing and fan engagement. And then after a couple of sport and culture scouting trips to India in 2008 and 2009, I realized, there's tremendous potential here. And I decided to make the move to India and work in a number of positions. And, the whole intention of me moving to India was to help grow the football ecosystem. I recognize that there's potential, but there need to be more processes and a system, and the landscape could be a little bit better structured. After about 10 years of doing that, I started understanding that more than processes and structure, we need more professionals in this particular industry. So one of the things I did with an investor was set up the Global Institute of Sports Business, a postgrad, which we offer a postgrad program in sports management. So in 2018 in Mumbai, we set GISB up. And so now it's a platform to train the next generation of sports industry leaders. And after running this program for a few years and being intimately involved in every aspect, I said, you know what? One of the things we're missing in education in India, let's say specific to sports management education, is individual coaching and mentorship. So students are learning about sports law and sports marketing and so on, but where do they fit into the picture? Right. What do they want to do? So then I got my life coaching certification. And now, in addition to overseeing the institute, I spend time with each individual student in terms of their passion, their purpose, and their strengths, and helping aligning with the industry. So you could say that it's intersecting because in the beginning, I was doing macro level impact with macro level projects, and now I'm trying to do macro level impact with micro level projects.
Amazing.
Engagement.
And in the work that you're doing with sports people, what are some of the common challenges that they face, and how do you address their needs?
Yeah, one of the first ones, and I imagine kind of even in your journey, you would have experienced this, is sometimes these niche industries, when you want to, especially in India, wanting to work in sports or arts or entertainment, it's hard for the families to support it. So one of the first things we do is, one of their biggest challenges is convincing their families. And setting up GISB was an opportunity to help these students have a place to go where they're getting quality education, quality life skills. So when they go into the industry, they can get quality packages as well, and their parents can feel more comfortable. The second thing that comes up is that if somebody wants to work in sports, well, what do they do? Like, what do you like? There's everyone wants to be Jerry Maguire because they've seen it, or they want to be Moneyball, the person at Billy Bean, and there's a big difference in saying heading up marketing for Mumbai Indians or being a player agent or running events at ISL.
Mm.
So through life coaching and mentorship, we try to help students figure out what they really want to do in the industry and why do they want to do it. What would they
Right.
be good at? Number three is getting now you know what you want to do or you want to work in sports, but how do you get your foot in the door?
Mm.
It's a catch-22 because to work in sports, a lot of employers need you to have sports management experience. But how do you
Mm.
get that experience without actually getting an opportunity to get that? So at our institute, we provide a lot of opportunities for live projects and internships and so on. So then when the students are going out into the industry, they have a decent CV already.
Mm.
The fourth one is now getting exposure to global best practices. So you
Right.
could be in India and learning a lot about IPL or ISL or Pro Kabaddi League or Dream 11. But now, say you want to go find out what's happening in Major League Baseball or the NBA or Premier League or Big Bash League.
Mm.
It's hard to get a foot in the door over there, get somebody to respond to you. So we bring the Premier League into our classroom. We bring Major League Baseball officials into our classroom. So we bring University of Massachusetts Amherst faculty there. So they get a chance to get exposure. And then finally, I'd say the biggest challenge is once you're working in sports, you're in a silo sometimes. You're
Correct.
not able to connect with the larger industry. So we provide a lot of upskilling opportunities and networking events so you can actually meet other people. And maybe if you're running a turf in Bandra for 3 years, you're like, you know what, that's great, but maybe I want to start doing something else in the industry. We provide them exposure and access to do that.
Well said. Great response. But this is something that you are doing for sports people.
Mm-hmm.
If I was to put myself in the shoes of a sports person,
Mm-hmm.
how are sports persons now reacting to
Mm-hmm.
getting managed by a sports professional?
They're really happy actually, and it's an interesting question. I've actually not got that question before because it's for the longest time, and I'll say specific to India, what was happening is that if you excelled on the playing field, you would then get a role in a government sports office,
Correct.
become the COO of a particular sports team, or you'll be at the federation or whatever it might be, the league office. And I think there was a little bit of a respect factor saying like, okay, this person got this many hundreds in cricket, and yeah, it's great to have him be the head of the sporting director, or have him or her be the managing director of this or general manager of this team.
Yep.
But now, a lot of people in India are recognizing that what they need more than just respecting the people who are there because they have an understanding of the sport, they need professionalism and how to grow the business of sport, how to create an environment that is conducive to growth, but also conducive to comfort and security as well. And so now what's happening is whether you look at IPL, ISL, Pro Kabaddi League, you look at a lot of the startups that are coming up in fantasy, or you look at sports, these are people who are running these or in those roles are all people who have some business acumen, have some understanding of basic structures to ensure that these organizations not only sustain themselves, but they actually grow. And so I think that the smarter athletes are happier that there's a professional. Just think about it this way: if somebody, if you want to be a good lawyer, you have to go to law school. If you want to be a good doctor, you need to go to medical school. So if you really want to be one of the people managing the $700 billion sports management industry in the world, you also have to understand a bit about the business of sports as well.
Well said. Absolutely. And Neel, do you see any change in the way the sports management professionals operate, given the complete inflow of so much different types of technology into our lives?
Absolutely. Yeah. Technology has completely revolutionized the world, and sport is very much a part of that. So I would say one of the biggest things, and it's, again, probably you and I would be impacted directly by it, is the way that OTT platforms have taken over how we consume sport. I'm a hardcore sports lover, but I don't have regular television subscription. I watch everything on Star or Sony Live or whatever it might be, and now Geo Cinema and all of this. So OTT platforms are completely changing how we consume sport, how and just in many different ways. Another one is fantasy and gaming. I mean, you look at Dream 11 and Dream Sports, they're valued at around $8 billion. And, there's so many young people who are engaging with sport now through fantasy. And that's just brought a lot of money into the industry.
Right,
Also
right.
brought a lot of, year-round connection, or let's say week to week. So even if my team is not playing one weekend, I'm still interested because I'm watching to see if my players do well, or the teams that I kind of said was going to win or lose do well, or don't. Another one is social media. I mean, this has been around for a long time, but the way that TikTok and of course Instagram and other platforms, the way that they allow players and teams and leagues to engage with their fans in a unique way. So I think that's something that's really changed from my days at Major League Soccer in the early 2000s to now, how we use social media to build our brand and connect with our audience. Two other ones I would say is data. Data is it's king in a lot of ways. So all this data allows us to understand how our players can get better. How do we help them reach their full potential? But it also is great for media. So media, as you'll see, will have tons of data to access in order to promote or talk about what's going on. And then finally, it would be the types of sponsors coming in. So a long time back, you might see Hero or DLF sponsoring, and maybe you do still here and there. But now you start to see Unacademy or Byju's or whatever Upgrad, or whatever it might be. These tech companies are starting to sponsor sport. And they were not even in existence before. Correct. And all of a sudden, they're the ones pumping in the crores, hundreds and hundreds of crores to be able to be on the jersey of a particular team or a league.
Well said. Well said. So one more question related to sports, and then I want to move to coaching and your book.
Yeah.
What would you say is your approach to helping a sports professional, someone who's doing well, they want to reach out to you? What is the process that you follow?
Yeah. I mean, when I came to India in 2009, and it's 2023, and I'm still here. And I was just back in California with my family and a lot of friends, and they're still saying like, when are you coming back? And I said, you know what? I don't know, because I love this country. And, one of the things I recommend to sports management professionals, whether it's my students or people I mentor, is see the gaps and try to fill it. Which I mean, in Indian sports right now, we haven't even got close to reaching our full potential. Not even close. Even though a lot of good things are happening in Indian sport, we're not there. So instead of complaining about what's not happening, see the gap and try to fill that. So that's a big one. That's how we become a change maker. It's who you are, Ashutosh. It seems like is a guy who sees a lot of gaps and then brings a lot of energy and passion into that space in professionalism. Another one that is a common theme that comes up in my books, it comes up in my life and in my talks, is regularly self-reflect. So what we might see, the trends being like, okay, being the CEO of Mumbai Indians is like a hot job, or being this, or being a sports agent and making lots of money and hanging out, having Lamborghinis. But the reality is that who we are is unique. Each person is wired differently. So what our strengths are, what our passions are, what our purpose is. So reflect on where you're at, and are you aligned with the work that you're doing, or if not, pivot where you need to. Something else I talk a lot about is be willing to be uncomfortable for the greater good. I think that the younger generation, I'm now sounding like an old man, but the younger generation, we're so used to quick wins, everything. If nothing feels right, we go here. If we're bored of this video, we go to the next video. And the reality is that we find a mission that we want to be on, and if it's uncomfortable for a little bit of time, it's okay. If we're not able to, if it's not easy and smooth, so be willing to be uncomfortable. Another one is don't get caught up in corporate games. Play your own game. This world is full of games. This world is full of people who manipulate, who are trying to push you down to bring you up. And yeah, sometimes you can be aware of those games, but don't get caught up too much. Play your own game. And then the last one I would just say is that I think, and this is, again, you're a perfect example given your career journey, is that we remember that our career, just like our life, is a journey. there's no destination, honestly. Like we know where we're all heading. It's not, we're heading towards death. So the journey, there's not one position that's going to make or break us. There's not one deal that's going to make or break us. Just keep going. If you get it, great. If you don't get it, learn from that experience and move forward. But the key is to recognize that it's not life or death. This is just a long, incredible journey that we're blessed to be on. So let's try to make the most of it.
Amazing. Great response. Thank you. I want to now ask you about life coaching, and so I'm going to ask you to wear your life coaching avatar hat. How do you integrate principles from sports? You've been a sports person, you're a sports management professional. How do you integrate this into life coaching? And what are some examples?
Yeah. So I would say that, there's so many ways you can look at that. But, one of the big things that I would say is that, you every day, like when you sports is a practice. You like the match is going to happen in a week from now, or 2 weeks from now, or months from now if it's preseason. But you have to still wake up every single day and perform.
Correct.
And your performance every single day, playing like it's a match day, even in training, is going to be what gives you that edge when it's actually, push comes to shove. So it's when you're living your life, when you set goals, when you set objectives, while your goal might be to make 100 or a crore in 3 years from now, but you have to wake up every day believing that you're on your journey right now. So it means that doing the things that you say you're going to do. So when you do get those opportunities, you make the most of it. I think that's a big one. Another one is, and my coach told me this when I used to play football in America, is it's not about what you do when I'm looking, it's what you do when I'm not looking. So it's when the coach is not looking, are you at the gym still? Are you visualizing the match and the training, plans? Are you eating healthy? Are you sleeping on time? So I think that's another one is making sure that you do that in that particular, and you're thinking about you and not what the coach thinks about you. Another one is mood follows action. So sometimes when you have training, you can't skip training. You have to go. Even if you don't feel like going, that if you skip it, you're done. The coach is not going to let you play. But life sometimes, especially now with remote work and a little bit easier kind of like set up because of the pandemic brought, if we wake up and we're not feeling good or we're not feeling like we want to do it, it's easy to just kind of like be a little bit more lethargic or live inside of that. But the reality is that I've seen, and you seem like somebody who would probably live like this, is that just by getting into action, by doing it, the mood can shift as well. And so let's not get caught up into too much of what our mood is guiding us. So I would say this is that the biggest example is, and I know I keep coming back to this, but GISB, the Global Institute of Sports Business. What we've tried to do is, I took from my experiences working with top football academies around the world, and I was consulting them, I was guiding them as a visitor at some of them. I saw that ultimately they developed an environment of demanded excellence. So even if you're 13 years old and you're at La Masia in Barcelona, you are sleeping on time, you're eating on time. The kind of magazines that they have out are particularly, they're strategic of what they put there. The education that you have to focus on, the kind of work that you're doing on and off the pitch is a particular way, how people communicate, how people dress. Are you allowed to wear a hat or not? So we try to do that in India as best as we can. And when we set up GISB, we wanted to create a 15-month program where the students it's a rigorous experience to bring out the best in them and to help them cultivate and develop healthy habits. And now we have 5 years of graduates, and I'm seeing most of them go into the industry, and they are transformed people because we created an environment that demanded excellence, not just when they're in the institute, but even out of the institute as well. So that's where I try to bring in life coaching into that space, because I try to help them understand it's not about making me happy, because in India, sometimes you see it's about making the sir happy. We don't want sir to be pissed off. We don't want sir as the coach, sir as the teacher, sir as our parent. But in this case, it's not about me. It's about me empowering you to live your best life. And that's all we can do.
Absolutely. And that's Such a great perspective to have as a coach. So, Neel, now let me move to your book. You just released a book. Tell me about your book. What is the title? And I'm going to ask all our viewers and listeners to go and check out Neel Shah's book. I'm going to check it out myself.
All right. So one, and it came out last October. That's called Awakening the Blue Tigers. That's about the past, present, and future of football in India. So that's on hardcore Indian football book. Came out around the FIFA World Cup in 2022. So that was there, published by Om, and that's in some bookstores and Amazon and all that. The book that's coming out in the next literally 3 or 4 days from now is called Your Dream Career.
Okay.
How to choose the one that fulfills you. So your career, how to choose the one that fulfills you. This is my passion project. This book is my baby in a lot of ways. It's a book that talks about how, growing up as an Indian American in California with very, very ambitious parents, or parents who are very ambitious for their lives and their kids' lives, how I was able to identify that football or soccer was the sport that I wanted to work in, and at the same time, make that a reality through jobs at Major League Soccer, and then eventually coming to India. But it talks about how I was able to identify in 2009 that, why it was so important to pivot, because India was a place that I felt a calling to be at, and not just kind of answering the calling, but actually strategically manifesting opportunities here. And ultimately, the book is about helping any individual who reads it figure out, are they on the right path career-wise? And if they're not, how do they pivot to make that, make their vocation something that aligns with their core self? And it's coming out in a few days. It'll be in the pre-sale on Amazon. I'll be doing a lot of talks. I'm going to England and the US to do a few talks on it, and then coming back to India. And I feel very honored and blessed to have this opportunity.
Amazing. And on that note, Neel, and you're telling us about your two big books. Your first one was Awakening the Blue Tigers, and second one you said was Your Dream Career. Thank you so much for speaking to me about your journey. Thank you for speaking to me about sports management at such length. Thank you for talking to me about so many different aspects of what goes into managing a sports professional. But also thank you for talking to me about what are the benefits a sports person, from the sports person's perspective, could get from being managed by a professional like you. Thank you also for speaking to me about a little bit about life coaching and about your books. Thank you again, and good luck.
Thank you, Ashutosh. What you're doing is fantastic, and giving people like myself a platform to share our stories is a wonderful service. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to The Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for The Brand Called You.